All right, welcome back, my dear student. So, on the last lecture, we learned how to connect, how to load in a model, right, with this manual way of doing it. And I told you I was going to show you how to do it using a autoload function, and I will on this lecture here. But anyway, then we are loading in this model here and then using a method inside right here. But we actually are not really using it. We are calling it, but it doesn't have anything. It doesn't have anything to assign to this result here. All right. So the next step would be to actually make a query here, right? But first, let me show you the second way of actually loading a model. All right. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because on this step right here, we have to load in our database too. All right. So I'm going to kill two birds in one shot and show you both ways. So we're doing it manually here. Now, to do it automatically, let's go to the Autoload.php and go all the way to the bottom here. And here you would type in the name of that model that you want to autoload, which in our case is user underscore model, and save it. All right, this will load in all the models that you want. And then you go back to your users here and we can just comment this out. And you can just leave it there for reference if you like. All right, beautiful. So now we can load this model and we don't have to type it in anymore. But now the problem is that we're not actually doing anything with it, right? We're just using it here, but we don't get anything out of it. Let's go back to that user model and now let's communicate with our database. So how do we communicate with our database, right? Well, we got two ways again. We can auto load it, or you can manually do it. Let me show you the manual way first. First of all, you need to create this. This is how you can find it in the documentation of CodeIgniter. All right, you have this array, and this array we have something like this: host name. And then what you do here is you apply your database configuration. In our case, it's going to be the host name is localhost. There we go. And you do this for all your database configuration. And of course, we have a host name, we have a user's name, and so on and so on. Let me just go ahead and copy this because I have it somewhere. There we go. All right, so for the host name, localhost, username, root, you get my point, right? And once you're done with this, then you can go ahead and say this load database, and then you can pass this in like this, all the configuration there. And the best thing about it is that you can assign it to a variable, and you can say, you know what, that's it, this is my connection here. Beautiful. All right, now you can also create another connection. So let's say, for example, you have a second connection to a database somewhere. All right, this is a second connection right here. As you can see, you can come and have a second connection. There we go. All right, so now you have a second connection to the database. Isn't that beautiful? All right, so you can use it like this, but I don't like using it like this, to be honest with you. All right, so I'm gonna comment this out. What I like to do is I like to go to Autoload.php. Actually, let's do something first. Let's actually put a configuration for a database here, because we're only gonna have one database, right? So actually, not in config. Go to config folder and go to database, and this is where you're gonna put the configuration. Our configuration is root because, well, that's my configuration because I haven't changed it. And for the username is root, password is empty, and the database is errand underscore db. Save. All right, so now that this is done, then we can go and actually make sure that this is auto loaded. So let's go to Autoload.php and go all the way to the top and scroll down a little bit to where it says libraries. In my case, it's line 61. I'm gonna actually load the database class. CodeIgniter has many different libraries. All right, one of the libraries is the database class. This database class is going to have a whole bunch of methods that you can use to do your regular CRUD, the create, read, update, and delete queries. All right. So we're going to have a very, very simple syntax that we can use to communicate with a database by using their class of the database. All right. So that's beautiful. So now we come here to our user model, and we don't have to do all this. All we got to do here, since we are loading that database automatically, auto loading it, we can just say this DB. All right. And then we can use their built-in methods like get, for example. And now we call the users what? Users table, like this. And that's going to give me all the users information. Can you believe that? All right. We get all the users information, and we can assign it to something. Let's say, let's just return it. Let's just say return this. Actually, we got to say return, and let's just say, let's assign this to a query like this, and we're going to say return query, and we're going to use this function called result right here. All right, and that's going to return everything from that table. All right, as an array of objects. All right, so now in the other side, let's go to the controllers. Here we can actually grab this variable right here is going to have an array of objects coming in from the database table users. So we're gonna have properties like ID, username, and password that we can loop through it, and then we can do whatever we want with it. We can process that information. We can even echo it on the screen. On the next lecture, because this is getting kind of long, I'm going to actually do that. All right. So if you want to go ahead and do that right now, that's up to you. So I challenge you to use this here, loop through it, and echo out the results and see what you get. All right. Try it out. It's fun. And I'll see you in the next lecture and show you the way I do it. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.